What's going on, good people? It's Nguvu, and tonight I want to talk about why these charts are misleading and they're not as good as you may think they may be. So if you've been in any of these social media groups online, you've without a doubt seen someone post their target and they're asking for feedback about how their accuracy was, how their group looks, right? And without fail, someone will post either one of these, if not both of these charts to say, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. This is why your shots are low left or whatever it is. But those diagrams and charts really don't tell you the big picture, because there's no way the chart knows, one, what position were you shooting from? That's going to affect your group, right? Are you standing? Are you moving? How far is the target? Is the target giving you a delayed amount of time or a specific amount of time that you can engage it before it turns and disappears? Your grip, whether or not you're gripping the pistol the correct way, or one of the many correct ways, there isn't really the way, but one of the many correct ways. Are you doing that efficiently? Are you lining up your sights correctly, or are you making a mistake like some of the newer shooters will do? Well, they'll actually look over their rear sight in an effort to see their front sight. They're so focused on the front sight that they forget to look through the notch. Is the shooter cross-eye dominant? And maybe they don't know it because they haven't tested themselves to see if they're right hand, right eye dominant, or left hand, left eye dominant, and maybe they're right-handed, left eye dominant. So there's a lot of things that can be coming into play. And at the end of the day, the only real way to diagnose a shooter and figure out why their target looks the way it is to watch them live, to see how they're holding the gun, to see what kind of tempo they're shooting at, and then give them some feedback based on what you see as far as their grip. Are they milking? Is there a gap between their index finger and the trigger guard? There's a million things that can affect your accuracy. And the chart really isn't going to do a good job of that. So you really need to find a friend. Doesn't even have to be an instructor, just someone who is knowledgeable enough to diagnose your shooting and figure out why it is that you're not hitting the area that you're actually aiming at. And then give you that feedback. The chart can't do that. So throw those things away. It's misleading. Sometimes they're flat out lying to you. But I know they're popular in these charts, in these groups. It's easy to say, hey, look at this chart and do these A, B, C, D, F, E, F, G thing. I went to public school, all those things, right? So the other thing with the other chart is the trigger finger placement. All right, so trigger finger placement is a myth. It doesn't matter where you put your finger on the trigger. The only thing that matters is that you press the trigger straight back in a fashion that you do not disturb the sights or move the gun from where you're aiming. If you press the trigger straight back and not move the gun when the gun fires, you're going to hit what you're aiming at every single time. I mean, outside of wind and all that kind of stuff, right? But if you press the trigger and move it left, if you press the trigger and move the gun up, any of those combinations, you're not going to hit what you're aiming at. So it's not about where your finger is, it's what you're doing to the trigger. Now, granted, as instructors, we're probably going to tell you to start with the middle pad of your index finger, right? But depending on the size of your hand, depending on the size of your gun, if you have any kind of physical limitations, your finger might not fit there. You might have, someone with huge hands, someone like Shaq, there's no way that his finger is going to fit there. It's probably not going to be comfortable with it. He's probably going to have a little more of his finger in there. On the flip side, someone with really, really small hands might not be able to reach all the way in. So there's a number of factors that can influence where a person should put their finger, and that's going to be unique to the shooter, depending on their size, as well as their size in relation to the gun that they're shooting. So cut that out. That whole, you have to put your trigger finger right here. No, press that shit straight back and you're fine. But either way, if you have any questions, let me know.
Give me the 14, when it 14, me kill 14, what you know about AR-15, the class 16, when you know the start speed.